Oh, there's Matt up there too.
There he is.
Everybody
Hello, Matt.
said good evening before, but I don't think anybody.
I think you were muted.
Yeah, you were muted.
Can everybody see me okay?
It's a little dark.
Yeah, this is just temporary.
Take it
Hello,
outside, Matt.
Ben.
The lighting's better outside.
We don't have that luxury.
I
Agree
could,
with Dave's.
I could go out on my deck, but John's mowing the lawn, so. It looks like everybody's here, right?
Yeah.
And it is 5:31, so let's call this council workshop to order at 5:31 on May 13th. Jenny, roll call, please.
Marty? Dave?
Here.
Scott?
Here.
Matt?
Here.
Paula?
Here.
Ben?
Here.
Ben, how are you doing? I thought you were getting your eyes done tomorrow.
I am tomorrow at 12:30. I'm getting surgery and I'm getting eye drops and I can barely look at the screen and see it. I got to get eye drops in a few minutes,
Okay.
but I'm listening. I can hear you.
Okey-dokey. Okay. So the purpose of this meeting is to work on our 2021 budget. And before we start, I have a question that I need you guys to give me direction on. We did first reading on 2020-20 on April 21st. We asked if there was any discussion and everyone said no, that we would discuss it at the workshop. But yet when I printed off the budget that was emailed yesterday night, it has changes on it. So my question to council is, do we go with the one that we approved on April 21st that was attached to the legislation for first reading? Or are we going to go with the one that was mailed last night with changes on it?
I thought we made changes.
No, I watched the tape and I
No.
asked if there was any discussion and everybody said no at the council meeting and that we would address anything at the budget hearing.
Oh, we can address the changes. What's the changes?
Well, maybe it comes down to, I know I really didn't look at what had been attached to the ordinance on the first reading because I only saw it online and there were so many years involved with that it was hard to limit it. So that what I got today has just 2018, 2019, 2021. And I don't know about anybody else, but how big of the change is there between what was here in front of us and what came out at the April meeting?
Well, I agree because on 2021, there's some negative numbers.
Well, I can tell you, first of all, in my opinion, we should be working off the one from April, because that's the one you approved.
What were the
Not
changes?
if there's changes. If there's changes, there's changes.
I don't think we did make any changes though. So I'm not sure. What are the changes that you found?
Okay, on page 1, if you go down to the resource officer,
I can't see it.
on April 21st, it was $32,000. The one that was mailed last night, it's $24,000. PERS in April was 37,000 and now it's 36. That's just on page 1.
So I think we're going with the one that Jenny sent this afternoon,
Yes.
Even
which
though that's
reflects,
not the
which
one that
reflects
was
the original
attached.
numbers.
That's not the one that was attached to the legislation, though.
Well, we
It
didn't
doesn't-
approve anything. We just said we were
Did-
gonna wait and talk about it.
Right, you
Right.
did first reading. And. the-
Michelle, is there an issue here?
Okay, procedurally, if you had one on first reading, it can't change until you move to amend it. So
Right.
you might
right.
have a new version in front of you for tonight, but those specific changes will have to be approved by motion.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Joe and I were trying to figure out how to accommodate the increase in the phone bill. And I was plugging numbers in, but I didn't mean to save it if I did. But no,
Okay,
I
so do
agree
we have
with
to go back to
Michelle.
the other one?
Yeah, we should use the one that you read at first reading, and then we can make any amendments. You know, we can
can
write
make
down any
any
changes that
amendment.
we want to make and then do the amendments at council.
Okay,
Yeah, because
so,
Jenny and I had briefly just discussed kind of where, but there was no concrete numbers. We didn't agree that we would drop this amount or that amount. It was just kind of trying to see where we could maybe shuffle some things around and try to help.
Right.
Okay, well, I'm gonna set my one from last night and this afternoon aside then.
okay,
Or
so
maybe
the
I better
one we
keep-
should,
I guess I
What
should
is the-
keep it here.
yeah, what is the file name then of the one we should be looking at? Because now I'm confused because I've got a couple of them here.
And you're looking at them online, right, Dave?
Well, I've got them pulled up on my laptop, so I'm just trying to figure out, I've saved them all to a folder, so I need to figure out which file should I be pulling up?
Okay,
Yeah,
the
I-
best I can tell you is the one that was attached to the legislation in April, where it says first reading expenditures dash general fund. The total at the bottom of budget for 2021 is 596,300. Does that help?
Well, do you know the name of the file? I just want to make sure we're all looking at the same.
I think we should
Same
use the file
cell.
that Jenny sent this afternoon.
Dave, the one that was at the council meeting last month, the police budget is, which is page 1, 587,300. Is that what you have, Linda?
No, not from the
No.
meeting.
In the top left corner, it says first reading.
The
Yeah,
one,
that's
the
the one
one
that
that
I
I
have pulled up.
have for police department from April is 596,300. The one that was mailed last night was 587,300.
Well, I'm sorry, yeah, because the only one I've got in front of me right now, unless I go searching some more, is the one that came out today, so.
That's what I have.
The one that says 587,300.
I can't see it.
I know
What is
that.
the service department's budget and the 2021 budget first reading, Jenny's first.
Right.
So those are the ones I'm looking, 2021 John's service department. Those are the two I have in front of me.
That's what I have.
Do you want to just work with those then, and then we'll make any amendments or recommendations?
Which
Dave,
one are we gonna work with?
hey, Dave,
Yeah,
if you go, it was sent on 4/15. It is, it doesn't have a number. Hold on. It's 647 kilobytes.
well, every file has a name. I just want to pull it up by name, that's all. The name of the file. Because I have them all saved. I just want to make sure I'm looking at the right one.
It just says first reading.
Okay,
On her email, it's just first reading. It's 2018, 19, 20, 21. It's not the long one.
Well,
Uh,
let me add something else in here. All through the year, and all of you know this, that sometimes we have to adjust the appropriation. So if something needs to be done, we always have done that. Especially if it's got to be done, it has to be done, and we do it. So don't forget that. And not only that, we got an audit coming up next year too.
All the more reason to make sure we follow the rules. Scott, the one that you pulled up from April 15th at the bottom of page 1, expenditures for security persons and personnel, down in the very left-hand corner, right-hand corner, 596300.
Hold on. Let me go back.
587300.
I have several copies and they all say 58730.
Yeah, that's what I've got.
Yeah, that's what I have too.
Yep.
That's the one I have.
So I guess everyone's telling me that the copy that got sent to me that I printed off is not correct. In
Correct.
April.
Doesn't sound
In
like it.
April.
I'm
What is
looking at the
yours?
same thing.
What does yours read, Linda?
The one that I printed off for the April council meeting, on page 1, the total was 596300
Hmm.
for the 2020 budget on the first page.
And I'm looking at the same thing because it is 16 pages. And at the top left, it's portrait, it's not landscape printed out. It says first reading. At the bottom right, it says 596,300. And it goes on, there's different stuff for 16 pages. And then I go right into the service department budget 2020 was the next file.
I don't have that.
No.
But I have one here that's got some negative numbers for
Well,
2020.
we just need to make sure we're all working from the same file and then we can go through and make whatever adjustments are necessary, I imagine.
All right, Dave, what does yours say on the first page?
The total, 587,300.
587,300. That's the one
Yeah.
I have.
And I've got two pulled up and they're both the same. The one is just called 21 or 2021 first budget, or 2021 budget first reading, and then the other one says Jenny's, and they're both the same.
Okay. Yeah, for 2021, I have 587,300.
Right.
Total 587,300.
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
So, Mayor, do you have that version that just so we can all
I
be
have
working
that
from the
one, but I
same?
just printed it off today.
Okay.
The one that I have from April has a different total.
Paula, which one do you have?
I have the one I printed off today, which
Okay.
is, yeah.
Okay. Well, Dave, you know what? I think you sent me this one because I had to sit in on finance. Maybe that's why you and I have the same one.
No, I have the same one too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
I can't
Hey,
find the
Mayor?
one that the mayor's referencing.
Mayor,
Yes,
since we're apparently $9,000 off, we can still go down through the line items. The
yeah,
call
we can.
Jesus
be the
Christ.
same, and if we need to, we'll just have to adjust the file that you and I have and.
Well, I
go down
agree.
through
I
and-
totally agree because we need to move on, but it's just strange that two people get a different budget than everybody else.
Read it. You know you can enlarge that. You want me to enlarge it? for you?
Yeah, I can't even see it really.
I know how to enlarge it.
Okay, so let's start on page 1. I guess we're gonna have to quickly go through every line. And the chief was requesting 6110500. Everybody has that one, right? On the landscape type. Here I am holding it up. 2021. So he had 20-some thousand dollars more than Jenny. So what I'm showing on this is for chief wages, 51,500. Officers' wages, 110,000. Joe was asking for 123,000 on police wages, and there's 110 written here. On dispatch wages, it's 148,000. And chief is requesting 15. Yeah. What was he asking for? 155,000.
155.
Overtime, $12,000. Chief had $3,500 in overtime. SRO wages was 24 on this one that I got yesterday, and I'm sorry, I'm looking at 3 sheets right now, so bear with 25,000. PERS was 36,000. Chief had 38,000. PERS for the SRO officer was 4,500, and the chief had 4,000.
Linda, I hate to interrupt, but as you're going through this line by line, it's not matching up with anything on the 2021 budget first reading document.
She's
that I
looking
have.
at Joe's budget too, like Joe's spreadsheet that he put together.
Yes.
Okay, so the separate one for, okay,
She's
sorry.
got them side by side, but I gotta tell you, and I told Joe this too, his actual numbers don't match mine at all. And mine come right out of the UAN. But you can see like on the one that I did, we've never gone over 118,000. So I mean, I just think his budget is well, since 2018, it's gone up. He's proposing like 80-some thousand just in the last 3 years. That's a huge jump for this small town.
Too
Well,
much.
don't forget, we're adding a second full-time officer too.
It seems to me that at finance, it was discussed. No, I'm sorry, at safety, it was discussed that we were just a training ground for everyone because of our pay scale. And I thought it was decided that the chief should look into raising the pay scale as long as we kept it within what we already have approved for those positions. Is that correct, chief? And let's
That
see,
is correct.
and
we
Ben and
discussed-
Marty were on,
Yeah.
are on safety.
That is correct. We discussed it because with the amount of pay, there's no incentive for people to stay here. They come here, we pay, they get trained and they leave, and then we turn around, pay a second person to turn around and train again.
They're looking at, what other one?
There's another, if you get out of there, I'll show you.
Get out of here?
Yeah.
Right now, we're the only department that's not paying their auxiliary officers to train.
No, you got to hit that arrow.
They send it to you in Outlook.
No. The internet.
Well, here's the,
Guess what scares me the most is we're looking at next year's budget, and with what's taking place with the coronavirus and so on right now, I'm real hesitant on doing a lot of,
How do you get out of that one?
looking forward to expect we're gonna have as much money in as we did in 2019 even. This year, we're not gonna get as much money in. Our income tax is not gonna be as high. Gas taxes and aren't gonna be, now liquor taxes, maybe we're gonna get a lot there.
But it's not gonna make up
But
for the
gas
others.
taxes, no.
No.
You know, there's gonna be a change, and
Yeah,
going through this just is scary.
I don't know how to get out of this. How do you get out of this?
I know, unfortunately, our level of service to the residents, we don't get to pick and choose not to provide a service of police protection for the village.
And
I'm not sure that you need 24/7 protection anymore.
Ben, we discussed that, and I believe that, I think we all agreed that we don't want to decrease
Oh, I
24/7.
didn't agree with that, Joe. I did not agree with that. You never heard me say that I agreed.
I'm not
That
saying you
was
said.
you, that was
what
you
I
and
said
Dave,
was-
you and Dave were talking, not me.
Excuse me. If we can't speak respectfully to each other without an attitude, then maybe you should mute yourself.
What I said was, we discussed it, and
Go ahead,
what I
Chief.
said was, what we had discussed in safety is, we've gotten to the point where we now have 24/7 coverage. Crime is not decreasing, and we didn't want to decrease that level of service and regress, is what we had discussed.
I didn't
More
discuss
than
that.
one meeting.
well, yeah, we did discuss it in safety.
You did.
Ben.
You and Joe discussed it. I didn't. And I don't agree with you.
Well, Joe, if you leave the wages how you want them, is there anything else that you see that you could shave down a little bit?
Well, we need to discuss the phone issue as well, because that to me is still a little confusing.
The what issue? I'm sorry? Phone?
For the phones,
Yeah,
so, and Jenny would have to explain this. So on the sheet, it says $50,000 for phones. However, we split a circuit with the fire department to where we get reimbursed a monthly half of one circuit that we share with the fire department. So that number is high. That number can come down. But Jenny explained it has to be in my number as if I was going to cover the whole thing. But then I can't reduce that, Jenny? Is that
Well,
correct?
We have to have enough to pay the full bill. I mean, even though they're going to give you some money back, we pay the full bill. So if you cut the appropriations by, say, 12,000, because that's what they give you, then we won't have enough appropriations to keep paying the phone bill.
Then if I have to appropriate to pay the whole bill, then does the money that they pay, should that come back to me to compensate for what I have to appropriate?
Well, it's paying the phone bill and paying wages for dispatch and all that. I mean, it's all in your budget.
I'm just trying to wrap
That's
my
what
head
I'm-
around how we have a $50,000 a year phone bill. I just,
Because of the fiber optic and the circuits and the 911. But we get 12,000 of that back reimbursement from the fire department.
okay, so it's still 38 that we're laying out. So it's over, 3,200 or so bucks
3,000
a month. Yeah. Is that consistent with other villages our size? It just, I don't know, but it just seems a lot.
All right. I can't see it anyway.
Okay, so someone's sharing their screen now. Scott, you're sharing your screen.
That is.
When I checked with Sue and Hiram, she said that their police department phone bill is around 400 a month.
That's what I'm saying, like 3,200 bucks a month just seems crazy high. I don't know how we got there.
Oh, it's close to 4,000 a month.
Well, yeah, net, after we get the 12,000 back, it's about 3,200 bucks a month, but that's still a lot.
Does Hiram have the fiber optics and the 911?
I don't know.
No, because they don't dispatch. Their calls go to Aurora. Aurora absorbs that cost because they dispatch for Hiram.
Yeah,
As a
So,
second
so
PSAP,
so we're
we
not
have 'em.
comparing apples to apples then.
I don't think we can do anything about it anyway. I mean, I think now at this point, we're stuck with it. It's been installed.
We
and-
are.
Yeah.
There was a contract signed. There was a contract signed and we own it.
Right.
And I think at the time that everything that was taken into consideration is we get money back for dispatching services from the fire department and from Garrettsville. Help offset that cost.
Well, I had asked this question before. It was probably in 2015 or 2016, when Chief Booker had said to us that we were mandated by the state to install the fiber optics, and it was going to be $90,000, that we would be paying $20,000 a year for X amount of years once it was completed. Is any of this $50,000 part of that $20,000 that we have to repay? And I've asked that and no one seems to be able to give me an answer.
I've never seen the contract, so I don't know. I'd like to see that it was actually mandated, because the only other option we had at that time would have been to outsource dispatch, and that would have cost us something like 40,000 a year, I think.
And you have those figures?
I don't know. I'd have to look.
Well, I think maybe we should reach out to Chief Booker and see when that contract was, because I remember it being discussed at safety. So there has to be something that we were told about. And I could be totally wrong. Maybe something else happened that we didn't have it. But I agree that now the $50,000, that's just for the police phones. It's
Yep.
not the rest of Village Hall. Okay,
Just the police.
thank you. Okay.
Hey, everybody, this is Matt. I just have a quick question. What's PERS? Is that retirement benefits?
Yep.
That's the
That's
state
the
retirement.
part-time.
Gotcha. Cool.
So Jenny, when we get our $12,000 or $914.93 a month from the police department, that goes into general fund to pay the phone bill?
Yep, general fund.
If that's the case, can I ask why? If I gotta allocate 50,000 to pay the entire bill, but yet I get reimbursed for some of that, I don't get that money back, which in essence could drop me down to the 38,000. I think that 12,000 needs to be in there somewhere. Either it should come back to me in police capital, because I gotta put up the whole amount to pay the whole phone bill.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But we're getting money back, but I'm getting penalized for paying the entire phone bill.
No, you have the biggest budget in the general fund. So that money is coming to you in the form of this budget. I mean, we have to generate money to pay an almost $600,000 a year budget.
I'm just saying, it looks like I have a $50,000 phone bill when I don't.
But it's what we're looking at, I think what we're looking at is at the top, we're looking at the expenditures that come out of the general fund. And so we're looking at general fund expenditures and how are those expenditures accumulated? And right now we're looking at it from the standpoint of the security. So, yeah, if the bill comes through for security, it's gonna come there, but it's coming out of the general fund. But it's part of the expenses for running the operations, the security operations. It's the way I read it. And
Excuse me.
because we're not, it's not like we're saying, okay, for your, here's the pot of money you've got to spend from, and we're not telling you how you capital, I mean, because motor vehicle maintenance, that is a requirement to keep your vehicles going. The wages, they're all requirements to keep your department running. So the telephone bill is part of what's necessary to run it. Now, where that money comes from to pay those is out of the general fund. And that's where the money is being brought into
Right.
the village.
Okay.
When we get the money, we get the $1,200 a month from Mantua Fire Department. Then we also get from Garrettsville for dispatching. That all just goes back into general fund. It's not earmarked for police capital or anything like that. Jenny?
From Garrettsville, 25% of their payment goes into police capital
Yeah.
and 75% goes into general fund.
And how much money, so they pay, Garrettsville pays us $7,500 a month, correct, total?
It's close to that.
And so about a little over 1,800 goes into police capital and the rest goes to general fund.
Yep. And that provides enough to get a police car like every 3 years, I think.
That's what it was set up for.
The 1,800 that goes into police capital.
It ends up being about 23,000 a year.
Just from Garrettsville,
Goes
Just,
into police capital.
yes, just from
Okay.
Garrettsville.
just from Garrettsville.
So we
Okay.
tried to work it out where that money would pay for a new cruiser, like at that time we had 3 cruisers and that way we could rotate a new one every year out of the 3. So.
Sure.
And that's why we also did the where we sell 2 buy 1, which we did.
That's how it was set up. I remember voting for it.
Hey, Michelle, is anybody else listening to this conversation?
Yeah, I am.
Well, I mean, outside of us.
Not at, not at the
It's on
moment.
YouTube now.
It is on YouTube, but nobody's watching at the moment.
There's
Oh.
11
So it'll be up there for all posterity for ever, as long as the internet lasts.
Okay, well, I don't have a calculator in front of me, but if we take the $7,500 a month, let's round it off to $7,500 that Garrettsville pays us. And we put 18 of it into police capital. So if you take 18 off that 75,
5,700.
that's $5,300 a month times 12, right? I mean, and I'm just ballparking this. So that's like $63,000 a year, correct? In that area. That we're getting from Garrettsville for services for dispatching. And 20, and then so it's about $50,000 we get a year from Garrettsville, correct? Total,
Yes,
between 85 and 90.
right.
And that 65,000 just goes into general fund to help towards Joe's budget. So he is putting money towards his budget that is not general fund money by supplying services. Well, I don't know. Let's just jump down to the bottom to the 58,700 and what changes can be made on page 1 to get Joe closer to what he needs.
I feel like we should start with this and then later in the year, if he's running short, we can increase his appropriations.
That's the best thing to do, what the auditor recommends. We got in trouble about that earlier.
So the general consensus is no changes to page 1. Dave?
I'm still trying to figure out which version we're looking at. I'm sorry. I mean, I've got so many different versions here.
I'm looking at the one that was emailed to us today.
Okay.
I'm just asking about other things, the services the police department supplies by dispatching for Garrettsville, that we charge them about around between $85,000 and $90,000 a year. A portion of it goes into police capital, the rest goes into general fund to help boost or balance Joe's budget, as well as the $12,000 we get from Mantua Fire Department for the phones. And how much does Mantua Fire Department pay us for dispatching? Chief?
About 40,000 a year.
So we've got, let's say 85 plus 40,000, that's 120,000 plus the 12,000.
All combined with the dispatching services, it almost pays, it's right around a wash with the dispatch wages. So the money coming in, I want to say it's around $123,000, $126,000 a year between the two.
Okay. So are you content to leave it where it is for right now, and we'll address it as we get closer to the end of the year when we do appropriations?
Yep.
That's the best way to do it.
Yep.
Okay, page 2. I see I don't see anything jumping out at Parks and Leisure. I'm looking for, okay. The mowing. When you get down to the admin, from, we're showing $3,000. Where did that $700 increase come from the one from April?
Admin, where are you looking at?
Down at village administrator and zoning. It says personal services, $10,000. Village staff for BZA hearing, $200. As PRS, $3,500. You see that? You see where I'm at, Dave?
Yep, I see it.
The question that I have is this one says $3,500, but again, and I hate to refer back to the one from April, but it said $2,800 back then, so we increased that by $700 for some reason. But again, I guess leave
Because
it as is.
PERS can't be split out. John's wages are split out between 5 different funds, but PERS has to come out of just one. So all his PERS is coming out of this fund.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Thank you. I'm turning over to page 3. Tree care. Guess I better get. And Mr. True, as you're listening there on mute. I have a third one here that's your budget, so I'm pushing the chiefs aside for now. So if I'm missing something that's totally way out of difference from yours and what Jenny has, please bring it to my attention.
I will. And next time I'll take a one from Chiefs, a landscaped one, and then I'll highlight it too to make it easier. I got some ideas now.
Okay. But I see for tree care that now give me a second here, tree care. You're the same on tree care, so we can jump past that one. Go down to mayor and council and administration. Let me find that one. Well, that's not on your budget anyhow, so. So $36,000, I mean, we have council and mayor and PERS and the different things. Now, Jenny, when we get funds like for our site plan reviews and BZA hearings, that money just goes into general fund, or does it get put into the zoning section?
The zoning is general fund, so it all goes into the general fund.
Okay. Thank you. So 36,000 for mayor and council administration. Then we get down to clerk treasurer. That's, I mean, that's a given. Is what it is. The 68,950. Everybody still on the same page with me?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm gonna go to page 4. Village Hall. Okay, I have for Village Hall, 17,250. That seems pretty normal. It's right in line with what it's been. Solicitor. Anybody have issues with that one?
Nope.
Okay, then we go to Rita. I get. Refresh my memory, Jenny. We pay them a certain amount for the year, and then as the year goes on and they collect the income tax, then we get a certain percentage. Was it like 4% or something like that that they give us back at the end of the year? I can't remember the percentage.
I don't think it's a set amount. I think it's based on collections.
Right, it's based on collections, but I thought it was a certain
Yeah, they
percentage
charge,
of the collections.
they charge a 3%
Right.
fee
Okay,
for everything
that's
that they
what I could
collect.
remember.
They said
Yep.
that usually around July, they do some sort of figuring and a lot of times we get a 0.5% back, but that isn't a guarantee.
Right. And is that working out so far?
You mean with them
Using your-
collecting?
Yeah. I mean, there's no glitches with them sending you your 2 monthly checks and people seem to be paying. I mean, or I guess I would have to pull out my appropriation report that's on the
Well,
other side of the
payments are going to
table.
be delayed this year because of the 3-month
Right.
extension.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, they're estimating that our collections might be down 10%, but it's just an estimate.
okay. Okay, then we're down to miscellaneous, which is street lights and tax collection fees. And I guess, do we need to have collection fees if Rita's doing the taxes?
No, these are for
Is that
property
for if
taxes.
we? Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, and then we have our audit coming up, UAN fees, engineering, professional services, landmark, advances in and out, okay. Everybody happy with page 4?
Mhm.
Going to page 5. And that's revenues for general fund.
And you'll see at the bottom that we're only clearing not even $15,000.
Right. Well, can I ask why, if we go to contract for fire service telephone charges, we have $1,000? Oh, because it's not quite $1,000 a month, it's 14, never mind. And we're probably gonna be down on park rental since the park's still closed. I'd like to see those revenues bigger, but I don't see how at this point.
No.
Okay, move on to page 6. On street fund expenses, John and Jenny are pretty much same on both of theirs. Street revenue, they're pretty much the same, estimating that. Then we get down to the road and bridge levy. And that looks like it's pretty much the same on both of them. Going to page 7 unless somebody has something.
Well, you see the negative number at the bottom. That's because we're spending money that we didn't spend previously. So that fund has built a little bit. So we still need to appropriate the whole 143,000 for what we're going to do,
Okay,
but we're not going to be in the red or anything.
okay. Everybody ready to go to page 7? State Highway Expense Fund. Okay, Jenny and John are the same on the expenses. The revenues look like they're pretty much the same. Then we drop down to the cemetery. And Jenny, you got the check from the cemetery trust, right?
Yep.
Okay. I get this is kind of deviating from this. Can you print off a report for me for the cemetery trust and how much they give us for mowing and how much we actually bill for mowing?
You're breaking up. I didn't get that. I didn't know what you said.
Okay. From the cemetery trust. He pays us what we've been requesting, 30 mows at whatever a dollar amount it is. And we don't always reach that goal of 30 mows. Can you do a report for the last 3 or 4 years that show what we received from the trust for mowing and how much our expenses for mowing?
Yeah.
Thank you. And John and Jenny are pretty much the same page for cemetery expenses and revenues. Then we get down to police training grant of Jenny's. It's $500 for bullets. Moving on to page 8. Permissive, John and Jenny are pretty much, well, they are the same in expenses. Revenues look the same. And then we get down to government center. I mean, that's a given. Those expenses are expenses we just have to pay. So. Bookert Park Walking Trail. You're gonna have to bear with me because John's and Jenny's are not in the same order on the page for me. And it says Bookert Walking Trail removed phase 2 should be done in 2020. Okay, it should be. Yeah, okay, so let me jump past that one. Didn't we apply for a phase 3 Bookert Park? Walking trail?
I believe that was the federal grant we had put in for. And it was
The
a real,
recreational trails.
yes.
So should we be showing that for 2021? If it gets approved?
We can always add it in later.
I think once it gets
Okay,
approved,
that's
it's
what I'm
gonna
waiting for someone.
be better.
I thought we put the brakes on that when we were talking about the phase 2. Didn't Rich say something about it was gonna need to be, it wasn't feasible the way that they had it drawn or something?
Well,
I thought we, go ahead, Paula.
I think some of the conversation you're going back to occurred in February when we were at those, when we were at the council meeting. And it was at that point in time, he said he needed to revise the route for phase 2 and phase 3. So that's where Marty and I went forward and did the walk around and went over, this is what we want included in phase 3. And that's what they went forward with. And it is an extensive project because there has to be a lot of foundation work done and so on. So this one is coming out at around 100,000. So until we know if we're getting any money, I'd rather not see it in there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Ben, I saw you shaking your head. Do you remember something about putting the brakes on?
I remember exactly what you said. They had a problem with the route and it had to be changed. It wasn't feasible to run it like it was and they had to change it. So there had to be some changes made to it.
Okay, it's something about the floodplain or something.
Well, they were going along the side of the road where the fence was and there was a swell like this and it was wet and they was going to have to go through too many light poles and fences and stuff like that. It couldn't be put there.
Okay.
They had
I'm
to
just-
move it. They had to move the
Yeah.
trail.
Okay. Yeah, Linda, the way things are right now, I'm not
And
so
hopefully-
sure that we should put that in there, you know, I mean, they could be freezing funds for the next 2 years, who knows, on
Yeah.
stuff like that, you know?
okay. I just want to bring to your attention the phase 2 changes that Marty and Paula had gone with Gene Arders. We're up to change 3 after a 2-hour Zoom meeting with Rich and Gene yesterday. And I've discussed some of the possible changes that they're going to be coming back with pricing because we couldn't put the signal crossing the street because Nature Works does not allow you to do any work in the right of way, but recreational trails do. So Paula had given me a couple of options that Rich is going to be working with and try and have it to us by Tuesday for discussion.
And that was so we
Because
could
the
use up
portion,
all of the
that grant
phase
is like,
2 grant monies,
right.
the donation
Yeah, it
from
was like-
DMRC and the grant monies.
Yeah, the grant was like 34 and the DMRC gave between
11,000.
11 and 12. I can't remember
Yeah.
the exact figure. So it came to like 45. And with everything they had to take off, it was only going to be about 21 or 25,000. So they're coming up with a couple different options to use the money that was given to, offered to us through the grant. So just to keep everybody up. So sorry to get off track. So let's see, Bookert Park, so we're leaving off that. Jenny, can we ever get rid of this $297 from High Street?
Well, we appropriated it this year. We just have to spend it and then this will go away.
Oh, okay. So if we have the guys do something on High Street, then we
Yes.
can use it there, huh?
Yep.
Okay, well, they've got a couple things on their list, so. John had given them a list of 16 projects of things that to be done in the village that had been let go for a while. That's just the first 16. Okay, West Prospect Street, we need to leave that there because we're still waiting for the small government funding to give us an answer, but they put a freeze on everything for the time being. And that takes us down to the bottom of page 8. So we're on page 9, Orchard Street widening project. That project should be getting done. Where we're at now is Ohio Edison is done, but the cable company still has not completed their work. As far as I know, they usually they keep me updated, and it's supposed to be done Thursday or Friday this week with the cable getting done, and then the bids can go out. So that one should be gone. Capital improvements for police. So that takes me back to Joe's. Give me a second. That's pretty much a given. That's that percentage of stuff, so. Correct, Joe? Or should
Yeah.
it be more than that? Well, I guess my
No, that looks
question
about right.
looks right. I was thinking by the time you added that percentage from Garrettsville in there that it should be more, but. Oh, wait,
You look at
there's
the-
two different sections. I'm sorry. Dispatch Garrettsville, I see it now. Sorry.
Yeah, yep.
Parks improvement. Parks improvement revenues. And you'll see that we do have a deficit of 74.29. How you doing, Matt? You following all this?
Yes, I'm following all of it.
Okay.
There's
I
the
have one
test
question.
afterwards.
I have one question, but I'll save it for the end.
You're doing a lot better than me.
On the park improvements, what lighting, new lighting?
I should have taken that off. I think John wanted to get some playground equipment and things like that. So he wanted about 8,500 for that. The new lighting is something that Bruce wanted to do, and that should have been deleted.
Correct. That's what I want to look on, some possible new play activities, equipment for the kids, and also the volleyball net and so forth. Make sure those poles are okay and some of those activities for the older when that starts. So we'll wait to do that later on in the year, but that 8,500 will work.
Well, just to share, Marty had spoken with the Rotary Club. They want to go after a grant. I just have not had time to reach out to them, and they were going to be considering doing the volleyball court. And I've got to put that on my to-do list, John.
Well,
But
good. It'll
also,
save
that
us
was-
revenue then. Good.
right. And then the other thing is that was one of Paula's options also, was to redo the volleyball court.
With some of the leftover phase 2 dollars.
Yes, with the leftover phase 2, yes. So as soon as I find out from Rotary if they're moving forward, then we can put more gravel on the path on the side of the river. or put it all there and not do it's just that the volleyball court, they've been asking for that for a couple of years to get that gravel and sand out of it. Any other questions on page 9? Okay, page
And
10,
actually-
water operating. Oh, I'm sorry, Paula, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna mention that maybe with the redoing and getting new sand into the volleyball court, that might help also provide sand for kids to play in. I know they used to do that up in the Willoughby area and some of their metro parks, that direction.
Mhm. There's not a sandbox down there by that little steam shovel?
Not
Or
really.
whatever that's called? Okay. Well, we could probably get some extra sand and I just wish that there was some easy way to keep it covered so when the ducks are down there,
Oh,
that was a thought.
Yeah, good thought.
well, maybe we should invest in one of those fox statues and put them out there. You periodically see those on business lawns to keep the geese away.
Do they? We have 2 fox down the street that we just had to call one of those people that come and get them and dispose of them.
I'm talking the statue, not the live
Well,
ones.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, we could maybe get them stuffed.
Oh, Jackson, that'd be interesting.
Actually, it's the
Okay, moving on
swan,
to page 10.
big swan swimming around that they use to get rid of the geese.
Yeah.
Oh,
Natural
okay,
enemy.
water.
Go ahead.
Okay. Page 10, water operating. I think we had talked about increasing on page 10 down to contractual services.
Yes, if you look at that plus sewer together, it's 210 a year right now.
Right. And with the water department is doing okay, as long as we don't have any major catastrophes down there. The CI fund is not real big, but John, hadn't you said that for contractual services, we needed to raise that $20,000 up to 110? Is that what you had? Where did John go?
Right here.
I've lost him.
Yes, but for the 2021, as I think of that, with the vote coming up and everything else, we could probably leave it now, Mayor, and then if it goes on through the year, then increase it. So that way we're not taking it further up to close to that minimum dollar figure. So I'd be okay with that. We could leave it there now, but because depending what happens in November, that could change all of this.
Yep.
Oh, sure.
And you can see that there's that $37,000 difference. And if we end up approving that additional amount for CT, if they're going to do the reservoir next year, if it doesn't get done this year and it goes into next year, which I thought Rich said it might, then we might need that money for CT.
Right, what Rich had said, because it's like $100,000. And he thought we would only be using 50 of that this year and 50 next year. So yeah, you're probably right, Jenny. So any other discussion on page 10? Hey,
No.
move to page 11.
Well, I did. Where is our capital, as we voted in last month or this month, last month, for the capital, $20 extra for water and the $30 extra for sewer? Those are gonna be
Yeah.
revenues that are coming in. Are those reflected here yet?
No, not yet.
Right.
Okay,
Water capital is gonna be on page 13, Paula, when we get
Okay.
there.
very good.
And then on the sewer, the $30 on sewer was an operating. So yes, it should
Yes.
probably go into the revenues on the bottom of this page. Under consumer rents, I guess, right, John? Jenny?
Yes.
Okay,
And that guesstimate for sewer was about $180,000 a year. Based on 500 customers.
So we're gonna change consumer rent to 705,000.
Everybody in agreement, John? Everybody else?
Yes, I'm in agreement.
705, Jenny?
Yeah,
Thank you.
And which line is
And now
that? I'm
change
sorry.
the Total.
that's
Consumer
down
rent.
under sewer revenues, consumer rent.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So then
I'm gonna
Jenny-
relocate. I'll be back with you all in just a moment.
Okay. So needless to say that Jenny will be changing the total of sewer operating at the bottom of page 11. So jumping over to page 12, or do we want to wait for Dave to get back?
Move along.
If you want to know what the new total sewer revenues, you can change 582, 800, change that to 762, 800.
Thank you.
I think that next page is all debt anyway.
Right. So we can skip past page 12 and we can wait on page 13 for Dave.
While we're waiting, I could ask my question.
Okay,
Okay, so I forget what page it was on, but it was the High Street paving project. 2020, there's $287 appropriated, just so that I understand this correctly. The High Street paving project has been completed. There's $297 left over from what was appropriated for that project originally. And that $297 has to be spent on High Street work going forward.
Yes.
correct.
Okay, the follow-up question is, can that $287 be appropriated elsewhere? Is there a procedure for that?
No, it has to stay in that fund. That was
Okay.
grant money that was given to us, so we have to spend it on High Street.
Okay, cool. I
But
wasn't just.
but it could be anything. It could be a storm sewer, it could be a sign.
Yeah, I think the nature of my question was like if something was appropriate in the past, you know, the stuck there in general, but okay, cool. Thank you.
Right, we have two little well, I don't know how little they are. We have a curb to do on High Street. And then we also have a storm sewer that needs a section of pipe replaced in the area of, what is that, Elm Street and
Elm
Hi.
Street.
and that's on Dave's list. Are you back, Dave?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we were waiting for you. We're on page 13.
Yep, I'm with you.
Okay. Water capital improvement, we had a total of $10,000 with the increase of $20, making a total of $22 a month. Water capital, that is going to generate. And I will have check my figures, but I came up with $192,000 in the year.
I came up with 120,000 in revenues. I think John put 192 in expenses because he wants to get the meters. But $22 a month times 500 is about
Yeah.
11,000 a month, times 12 months is 132,000.
Okay, somehow I had come up with 15,000 a month. But you have the calculator, so. So Jenny, so for meters, we would be changing that the capital outlay.
I'll change the revenue amount to 130,500. But as far as the appropriations, I think it's something that John wanted to talk about. If he wants to get the water meters, maybe pay 100,000 or 120,000 and then finance the rest. I'm not sure. I think we're going to talk about that at finance, aren't we, Dave?
Yep, that's on the list. Yep.
Yeah. And I think it's gonna be significantly cheaper to finance too.
I think it'd be safe to at least appropriate 100,000. And if, if we have, even if we're doing other projects, if we have a big list of things and that money's coming in, or we can do it as we go.
Yeah, or the 100,000 is fine.
Hmm.
That's gonna make it a total of 110,000 then, Jenny.
You think just 100,000, John? Because we have it in two categories, capital outlay and meters. But we could just put it all on capital outlay and that would cover meters if you go that route.
Exactly. Go that route to cover them, but that's, or to save for another project, because 100,000 doesn't do much in water lines.
Yeah.
Okay, and that takes us down to sewer capital. And right now Jenny and John have basically the same thing. That puts us down to shade tree. First, I thought that that was a cow moo.
I was wondering what it was.
It's not my house.
Not mine.
Okay, and that takes us down to shade tree for $85. And then the rest is Jenny's total fund expenditures, which show and total revenues. So Jenny, you have our list of,
We only had a couple changes, so I'll put a list together.
okay, Michelle, do we have to have a motion to move this forward? Or we just have to wait and do the motion on Tuesday?
You don't have to do anything right now. If you want to make recommendations in your finance meeting, or you just take your notes to council and amend it there, it'll be fine. So you don't have to take any action right now.
Okay,
While I'm here talking, I have to go to Garrettsville Council in a couple of minutes, so I'm going to take the liberty of making council president the host of the meeting. And he can end it for everybody when you're all done,
Okay.
because I know Dave's run this thing before.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good meeting.
thanks, Michelle.
Did we adjourn this meeting of council?
Yes,
Are we ready?
please.
I move to adjourn the appropriation review meeting for the 2021 appropriations.
Second.
Scott,
Aye.
Ben,
Yes.
Marty, Paula,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Right. Have fun.
Okay.
We always do.
I'm gonna take a break.
Go for it.
Me too. I'll be right back.
Okay. Wish I could take a break long enough to eat my dinner, but I'll wait. I think finance will be brief, so we're good. I get hangry, you know.
Yeah, we know. So it's all right for me to rip up this one from April and be gone with it. Jenna?
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, Chief,
Yes,
do you have the girl that used to work at Subway as a police officer now?
yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought I saw her walking the street, and I'm like, that looks, I don't know her name.
Miranda Brothers.
Miranda. I'm like, she used to work at Subway.
Yeah.
How long has she been on the force?
She graduated last fall. So she's been on since last fall.
Really?
In
I'll
fact-
be darned. Okay.
Yeah. She's been in training
Okay.
4 months now.
Okay. She just part-time, obviously. When does she work in mainly?
Whenever she's not working at, well, since Subway closed, they've cut her hours at Circle K.
Okay.
So only up there, they're working there like 4 or 5 days a week, but it's only 4 hours a day.
Okay.
3 workers from Subway over to Circle K side.
Trying to figure out why the heck they closed the Subway. They always seemed like they did good business.
It's something to do with Subway had to pay Circle K to be within their thing. And so Subway, Circle K didn't renew their leases or
Hmm.
renew their contracts within Circle K's or something, because all the other Subways are standalones.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't a Manaway decision. That was the corporates,
Okay.
the higher up.
Gotcha.
That came from above. That wasn't anything that we did wrong. That was just a decision that came down the chain.
I'm gonna miss them. I didn't go there a lot, but every once in a while they, you know. serve the
Well,
need.
Friday night football and basketball,
Yeah,
yeah, the kids are gonna miss them
yeah, the kids are gonna miss it, yeah.
Big time, yeah.
because with school let out and then they had an after school practice or a game, that's where everybody, they could walk. They
Right.
didn't need a ride. They just walk
Right.
down there, do their thing and go back.
Yep.
So that's why we need somebody to open up the meat market
Exactly.
and they can make subs.
Yep.
I told my son-in-law this weekend, he's an investment banker, and I told him, I said, you need to find somebody. He loved that meat market. He'd come here from Macedonia.
Hmm.
I said, Mike,
Well,
you
and
gotta
since
find
they
one of
knocked
your
that
investors.
wall down, they opened that up, and since they knocked that wall down, you've got that nice little dining area where the attorney's office used to be.
Yep.
Yep,
Yep.
yep.
Is the Village Tavern still open or is it closed?
Well, they're not, they're restricted due to the COVID-19, but
Okay.
closed.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Yeah, and with this new rule coming out, they're gonna be able to do some activity outside. But they were serving food to go in to-go containers. They're not allowed to consume inside.
Right, I know.
But they were allowed to sell a beer to go too, as long as it wasn't open.
Yeah, to go,
Right?
yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, they're restricted right now due to the COVID restrictions, but
Mm.
yes, they're still in operation.
All right. I was just wondering. I hadn't seen nobody there in a while.
Oh, you gotta
They're
go
not
in
allowed.
through the back. You gotta go in through the
Yeah.
back, Ben.
I don't go in. I haven't been in there in 10 years or better.
Yeah,
You,
I know that we had some locals that would go there in the morning for breakfast, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, COVID-19, that's kind of put a kibosh on those guys eating for
They have a
coffee.
good breakfast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they really do. All right, so we all here?
you guys were talking about subs. You could go to Jake's Markets for a sub,
Oh, yeah. That's
but
true.
there is a potential buyer for the meat market.
Good.
There it is. Okay,
Yes.
Good.
it's not the old one, is it? Linda?
Pops, you mean? You mean
Yeah.
Pop?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know 100%. It's
I
between
wish he
people.
would.
Yeah, me too. He was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pops was great.
I used to go jalapeno peppers and give him a bunch every year.
He was good.
Yep.
All right, we ready to move to our finance meeting?
Let's
I think
go.
so.
Yes.
All right, I'll call it to order at 6:59. Jenny, roll call
Dave,
here.
Ben,
Here.
Matt.
Here.
All right, I don't know if I can see if any citizens are present. I don't know, but it doesn't matter, I guess. A motion to accept the minutes from the April finance meeting.
I moved.
Second. I was there. I can second that one.
Yep,
Dave,
yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
All right, Jenny, financial reports?
okay. We did have to advance $20,000 to the sewer fund to pay workmen. If I would have waited about 3 days, we would have had the full 67,000, but then we would have been out of money and couldn't pay bills this month. So we did borrow 20,000. And I was going to see if you think we should put together a repayment schedule of like 5,000 a month, especially with this big increase that we're going to get. I feel like we could probably, nice to have it paid back for sure before November.
Yeah,
So if you want me to put that together, then, I can do that and then send it to Michelle and we can have it for council Tuesday.
Do it.
I think it's a good idea.
Okay. Okay. Our fund status is looking good.
Mhm.
No adjustments on the cash summary. Our receipts totaled $196,622. We had quite a bit of income tax money coming in, even though a lot of people are delayed. We still have a lot of people that are paying on time. I'm trying to think of anything else big that came in this month. So our payments were $184,650 for payroll and operating, and that did include the big workman payment of $67,000 for the sewer line repair. And we don't have our credit card bill yet, but I'll send that to you as soon as it comes in. I think we
Okay.
only have a couple of charges anyway, a couple, small things that Dave ordered. I think some mower blades or something like that. I think our revenues and appropriations are both on track. No adjustments on the bank reconciliation, but I did have to make a charge of like $59 to the credit card company. And I do have documentation so that we are, that it does go to the credit cards, but we're working on that. We have to figure out there's a problem with that. So I can't really say that I'm in balance with water and sewer right now. And that's just about it for the financial reports.
Refresh my memory, what's Love Insurance Partners?
That's our property insurance that we pay once a year.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was just a big line item. I was trying to figure out what that was.
Motion
yeah,
to
that was
finance
another big
reports to
payment we had.
Council. I got a motion to move the financial reports to council.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Dave,
All right, yes.
Matt,
Yes.
and Ben already said yes. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
All right, the bills of resolution.
I got no questions. You make a bill, you pay it.
Well, hopefully.
We try. And we got the bill for our road salt. So there's
Yep,
a big
saw that.
there. And even though it's listed under streets, we just don't have enough columns. It actually comes out of permissive, state highway, and streets.
Okay.
So I don't know, I might try to redesign the bills list since we have so many funds now, so you can actually see instead of it being in streets, it should be where.
Yeah,
really-
well, I don't know if you have enough columns available in Excel to do them all, but
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't have any questions on the bills of resolution. Anybody else?
No.
Motion to move the bills of resolution to council?
Second.
Aye.
Matt, you have to say aye or no. Yes. or no.
I said yes, aye.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
That's okay. I'm still learning the procedure.
All right, right,
It'll get easier
legislation.
in person.
Yes, much. This Zoom is getting old. All right, legislation ordinance 2020-20, an ordinance approving and adopting a permanent budget for 2021 for the Village of Manaway after publication of public budget hearing pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 5705.30. We just went through that. Ordinance 2020-22, an ordinance retroactively confirming Eric Dunn as a full-time officer of the Manaway Police Department effective March 25th, 2020, and declaring an emergency.
What this
Discussion on
is to authorize Jenny to somehow get him off of PERS and put him in that Ohio Police and Fire Pension Fund. However that works.
Okay,
And we'll probably have to suspend the rules so she can get it, done, you know,
yep.
get it up to date. And
So is Eric the gentleman we interviewed? Forgive me, no, that's not, is it?
yes, with
It is, okay,
yes, yes.
okay,
He's the SRO officer, but now that school is out, he's working full time for us. And then when the school opens up, fingers crossed in September, then he'll go back to still being full time, but working his 30 some hours a week at the school.
okay, okay,
And then for us all summer or whenever there isn't school. So
okay. And that is going well, I take it. Chief is muted. I don't know if you wanted to say, yes, it's great.
I'm sorry, I muted myself.
Yeah.
Which part, Dave? Which part's going well?
Just
with
Eric working out.
Yes.
Good.
He's working on some grants for us. I like free stuff, so he's a grant guru. So yeah, he's going after some of it's 100%, some's 90%, but
Okay.
we're going after stuff.
Seemed like a really, really bright guy. So I think that's good.
Yep.
if Dave, if I can ask a question real quick while we're talking about Eric.
Yep.
He approached me today. This is for everybody, but especially for John and for the chief. For him to buy some kind of a scanner to scan paperwork. It's $150 plus shipping, and to start scanning all the paperwork in the police department. And also he says when he's working midnights, if he has free time, he would start doing anything else that needs to be done for Village Hall. I told him that Jenny, I thought she had told me that she's working on getting a list together so we can have a meeting to get rid of our, Jenny, what's that called? When we do the retention that we can destroy.
Yeah, it's a record retention.
Yes, thank you. And he said, you know, anything that we have left over that he could scan it all onto disk for us. So, so if John and council and the chief think about that, he's more than willing to do it.
Joe, does your copy machine scan? Doesn't it scan?
Yeah, I can scan to a file or to a flash drive or to an email. And that's what Lieutenant Justice, before Ken left, that's one project we looked at last year with some of the simple things like our patrol logs or stuff. Go ahead and scanning that and getting more digital and less paper-wise.
Okay.
So I guess the answer is yes, my copier will scan and I have different options as far as scanning. But I can get with Eric and John and we can come up with something, but
I guess because this was a portable scanner, he was thinking of if, you know, he was told, you know, these are the boxes that we can scan that are at the service department. He could scan them so that we have them digitally, and then we can get rid of the paper files. Just something to think about.
Yep. Okay. We can look at it.
Thank you,
Okay.
Dave.
Yes. Moving on to discussions regarding the new water meter bids. John had sent out to the two that we received with a recommendation. John, if you want to comment on that.
John?
Yes, yeah, I gave you all a memo. I was hitting the right button. Sorry about that. There was a memo to the effect, actually, there were two bidders, Ferguson and Necco. Ferguson is actually a no bid, I would say non-responsive. So I would request to throw Ferguson out, which you'll do when you award the other one anyway. So Ferguson only bid on the meters themselves. They didn't bid on any RF transmitters or the total package or install. So they wanted just to put meters in and no other system, left it upon us. So that's a no bid. We actually bid this package to be a complete package. So Necco, that being said, Necco was still a low bidder, even meters, and Ferguson's a meter manufacturer. For meters and the total install and the transmitters, $167,174.99. But then they give you alternatives for financing of 3 years, $69,000 a year, 5 years, $43,000, and 7 years, $31,000. I think the key to this project, you don't have to pay a dime until all the meters are in and the transmitters. And as a matter of fact, that's 6 months after, 6 months and also, or after they are completed. We may not have to pay on this at all, even no matter what finances you go with. If that vote comes in November, the county takes care of all this. So, you know, whatever you decide, the 3, 5, or 7, whichever we can afford. We do have more capital now, we can afford a little more, but we did this prior to us expecting that capital increase that council was so gracious to give to upkeep the meters and the rest of the capital.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, the recommendation is Necco, and you see the price there for these meters.
Am I remembering right? Did we have some 0% options for financing?
I
No,
don't
I
believe
don't
so.
think so.
No.
No?
No,
Okay.
we had kind of talked about possibly the EPA. And I did check when I was on the phone with, not that I keep saying the phone, when I was doing the Zoom meeting with Todd Peets and Michelle. There is some funding available. I don't have my notes out there that would be possibly 0%, but if we applied now, the money wouldn't be released until 2022.
Oh, okay. I mean,
So that-
3.17 is good, you know, that's a decent rate, but I thought I heard something that would be even lower than that. So, okay.
I do have a question on this, John, that I didn't think about earlier, is he being Ray Schwartz, had quoted us $200,000 because he put that buffer in to cover any issues when he's installing in someone's house. You know, if he's got to put in an extra little shut off valve, or if they've got to cut. And I don't see that reflected here on the bid. Did we not ask for that? Is that something we need to check with them on before we act?
No, that's reflected in the financing amount. Remember, on the financing amount in those 3 pages I sent you, it's reflected at 200,000 versus the 167.
Okay,
And that's
okay.
for
Sorry.
anything for the customers, if we're still going to cover that for the customers. And I think that if we finance is going to the county anyways, it's definitely boon for our residents, and everything we can do for them, we should do that.
And John, you told me, well, Jenny, you're there. You said you checked with Middlefield and some other lending institutions to see if they could beat this rate?
Middlefield was 3.5. That's the only one I checked with.
Oh, okay. So the question would be, would council make a motion to send this forward to, would finance send this to council?
Yes. Yes, I'll make a motion to move this to council.
Matt or Ben, second?
I'll second it.
Not me, I don't agree with it. I don't think we got the money to do it.
All right, then I'll call the vote. Dave,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Ben,
No,
Okay, thank you, guys. We'll have Michelle and Jenny draw up the paperwork for the legislation for it.
Okay. Any other business?
no.
Motion to adjourn at 7:15.
So moved. The ones that got to second it.
Second.
Thank you.
Dave,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Ben.
Yes.
Thank
All
you,
right,
everyone.
everybody.
All right,
Have a good night, everybody.
good night.
You too. Have a good evening.